So we've talked about the basics. Now we'll talk about the fun stuff. How do you actually get your plan in place? And there's a few different options. In today's society, there's probably about 4 different ways to get your estate plan set up. The first one we'll quickly get rid of because it's crazy. Do not advise. That's actually writing it yourself. And by that, I mean you take out a pen and paper and you start writing. Horrible idea, simply because you don't know what you don't know. Like if you don't know the key components of a trust, what has to be in there for it to be upheld, what some of the important clauses are. If you don't know what you don't know, it's hard to get started and think we're going to write something that's going to be upheld. Believe it or not, people try this all the time. As in our law firm, we've seen, unfortunately, a good number of them that are absolutely insane, that sound kind of good, but in effect, they don't do anything. So writing it yourself, completely writing it yourself, weaving together, terms and clauses, do not recommend. The second, and it's becoming a lot more common, is DIY software approach. So this is more of a done for you type of plan. It's a software that has a templatized estate plan. And if your wishes are simple, you can plug it into the questionnaire and a document is produced for you. So you go through a guided questionnaire, document is produced for you, and that becomes your estate plan. These plans can work, believe it or not, and I'll talk about one software that we'll recommend here in just a moment. The next option, of course, is having an attorney do it for you. So engaging an attorney, telling them what you want, having them draft it, having them complete it with you, and then having them, follow up with funding and making sure that the trust is going to work. Obviously, that's the traditional approach. It's what should work best because there's a guarantee that there's a professional behind it who has their name on it and it is there to make sure your wishes are upheld. Now, the fourth option, which is a very modern approach, is a hybrid of the software version with an attorney review or attorney guidance. And this is something that is kind of unique to our law firm and our software. There's a partnership between the two where we can offer this hybrid approach. And that would really be for someone who they have a pretty simple plan. They're just not comfortable with the full DIY option and they want some attorney involvement, but they don't want to pay the premium of having, a custom plan drafted through the attorney's time. Now, if you're someone who's made it through this course and we have pretty simple wishes, we're now an educated consumer and we know that what's important to us is leaving everything to our kids outside of court, with a little bit of guidance, but we're not really worried about too much else. We just want to make sure it actually works when it's needed. You can do a done-for-you DIY software. Our firm developed Estate Lock, which is its own software company. It's not a law firm, but we developed all the documents used in Estate Lock. We developed them from our own templatized versions of the most common things that our clients ask us for. And then we took those most common factors, we made it into a questionnaire that guides you through which options to select, and then put together software as you're going through the questionnaire, your documents are generated on the back end. And that software company, Estate Lock, is our partnered software. It's something that I would have no qualms as an estate planning attorney sending you to, so long as your wishes are simple and you're someone who is definitely going to follow through with the plan. You're going to use the tools provided in that software to make sure when you get your plan, that you sign it, that you fund it, that everything is updated to make sure the plan actually works. And in Estate Lock, we put together, as attorneys, we put together guidance on here's exactly step-by-step what you need to do once you get the documents to sign it properly, fund the trust, here's when you'd look at amendments. All of that is very well done. And in our opinion, it's the best product on the market that's going to get you a high quality plan with a lot of the provisions that we've talked about in this class and provide you the guidance where if you're willing to DIY and follow instructions, you can absolutely do it. You can set up a quality plan through a DIY approach. Now, if you're someone who still has simple wishes, we don't really need any fancy planning, but we're just not comfortable doing a DIY approach. Every time I do something, I mess it up. So I don't want to do that to my estate plan because I'm worried I may mess something up as well. The unique thing about Estate Lock is it has that hybrid option that I mentioned earlier, where if you go through the software in Estate Lock, you complete your plan, and at the end of it, you're like, hey, I would like an attorney to review this plan and tell me what it says. Or I would like an attorney to review the plan and then meet with me to discuss in particular my questions, maybe talk about edits, and then help me with making sure a mobile notary comes out and signs the document, sends deeds out to the county so it gets recorded on my behalf, holds my hand with updating beneficiaries. All of those options are available through Estate Lock. And it's through a partnership with Estate Lock, the software, and Jenkins Estate Planning Attorneys, the law firm, where Estate Lock will produce the templatized estate plan, and Jenkins, my law firm, will provide the attorney guidance piece should you need it. So that allows you to still set up a high quality plan so long as your wishes are simple, but have an attorney review it. And if nothing else, give you peace of mind that what you created says what you think it says. And if you want it, you'll also have the access to the attorney to do an in-depth review, get everything notarized, and do the funding piece as well. And those are all tiered level of services. They range from DIY to DIY with attorney review, which is where the attorney reviews the documents, tells you what they say in a recorded video so that you understand the documents. And then more of a premium offering where you have FaceTime with the attorney. You can talk through pointed questions. You can make little updates. You can go through the funding process and have it notarized. So there's just tiered levels of service there. And then, of course, there's your full service offering. And this is definitely for anybody that has complex wishes or someone that needs a lot of contingencies in who gets what, how that's drafted. That's just not something that's going to fit in a software approach, regardless of which software you go with. You really need an attorney to draft those complexities, flesh out anything that you're not thinking about or any potential issues with some of those complexities and some of those nuances, and really need their backing that what's put together is going to work. So if you have complex wishes, definitely have an estate planning attorney do the plan for you. Tell them what you want, let them custom draft that on your behalf. If you're also someone who's just not gonna get it done unless an attorney does it for you, pay more money and have an attorney do it for you. That's fine. Like the amount of money you pay for an estate plan pales in comparison to what your family pays in time, money, and headache going through probate, right? So, and it's okay to be this person, but there's plenty of our clients that say, look, the software looks great. I'm just not someone that's going to make it through the software, get the final documents, sign them, notarize it, fund the trust. I know I'm not going to do that, so I just want to pay you to do that. And that's totally fine too. Of course, we'd be happy to help with full service offerings as well. Jenkins Estate Planning Attorney, our law firm for traditional planning, is full service throughout the state of California. So you don't have to be in San Diego. That's fine. Almost everything is done now by Zoom anyway. And the way it works for that traditional planning is there's an initial consultation to get to know what it is that you want. And that's usually done by Zoom. It can be on the phone. But we talk through all of the nuances, especially in your trust, around how we're going to custom draft this based on your unique wishes. After we have that information, we draft the documents. We'll send you drafts. When you get the drafts, you don't just get, here's 100 pages, have fun reviewing. We'll go through and highlight all of the important provisions that we really want you to pay attention to. And we also will send you a review of your documents where an attorney is going to record themselves walking you through the actual documents, explaining to you what they say. So review is a lot simpler with that video. Just push play and let us walk you through it. After you've been through the review, then we'll set up another time to talk through remaining questions, make any updates, and we'll go round robin until we agree, hey, this looks good. We've got a final version that's ready for signature. When we get to that point, we'll send a mobile notary out to you that's going to sign with you at home, similar to a loan closing, if you've ever done that, where they come out, sign over the dinner table. You never have to come into an attorney's office. You don't have to sit in traffic or anything like that. Your documents, your final documents get scanned in. There's a digital backup that we retain just in case the originals are lost, and then we'll send the originals back to you for safekeeping. So our traditional services are also available if you're someone who just has more complex wishes or just really wants the help of an attorney to kind of carry it across the finish line. Now that we've talked about how to get a plan set up, let's talk about some of the pitfalls, some things to avoid, some of those landmines out there, some myths, and let's make sure that no matter which way you go to get your estate plan set up, you know how to make sure your family doesn't end up in probate court despite your best efforts.